So, let me get this straight. You want to watch a movie with you about magical flying ponies who travel through a portal in the mirror that takes them to the human world, where they then have to go to high school and win a popularity contest to get a mystical magical crown so that the snooty popular girl of the school doesn't use it to take over the world. And you feel like you have to see this movie because you had a dream about it after watching a crummy movie adaptation of Street Fighter.
Yeah, I do.
Did you watch Last Airbender again? I told you, one of these days, those paper cutout bandages won't be able to help you.
I know it sounds crazy, but it's been haunting me. Like, every time I try to go to sleep, I wake up in a cold sweat, wondering, why, God, why? So, I feel like I have to.
Right.
Look, man, I just think that maybe the viewing experience will be a lot less painful if I have someone there watching it with me. So what do you say? Got my back? I might just kill myself if you don't. I literally got no other choice.
Alright. I guess watching an hour of humanoid ponies couldn't hurt too badly. And besides, we could be totally wrong about the movie. For all we know, it could actually turn out to be pretty good. Oh gosh, turn it off! Turn it off, please! Okay. So, I feel like it wouldn't be very fair to go into this movie without first going over the show that's based off of. Ladies and gentlemen, My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. If you've never heard of this series, where have you been the past few years? Friendship is Magic is currently the newest adaptation of the My Little Pony line. It was developed by Lauren Foss, who also worked on some classic cartoons like Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And I loved those. The show was originally aimed towards young girls, as you could probably guess, but it very quickly started to grow a much larger fan base than expected. It still got that audience of young girls, no doubt about it, but the show also got the attention of boys and even grown men and women. This is most likely due to how the show was written. According to my hours of research, and by hours of research I of course mean the 2 paragraphs I read on the show's Wikipedia page, the folks at Hasbro want to see the series be taken in a completely new direction, and Foss wanted this new variation of the series to be more than just, in her own words, characters who had endless tea parties, giggled over nothing, and defeated villains by either sharing with them or crying. I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty accurate description of the original shows. Because of this, the show was written far differently than its older counterparts, with the characters having more likable and in-depth personalities, as well as giving them more adventurous settings for them to go on. And thanks to this, the show grew a massive fan base, most notably the male fan base, who have since called themselves bronies. You get it? Because they're bros who watch ponies? Bronies? It's funny, right? Right? So with all that said, you're probably wondering what my stance on the show is. Do I like it? Am I a brony too? Well, I'll answer that for you right now. I think that My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic is... okay. Yeah, just... okay. I don't think it's a bad show by any means, far from it in fact. But I don't really see it as a great show either. I just think the show overall is okay. And there's a reason why I think this actually. In my opinion, the show can be very hit or miss. The way I see it, the episodes of the show can be broken up into 3 different categories. There's the good episodes, the bad episodes, and the meh episodes. And unfortunately, the meh episodes are the ones that I seem to come across the most whenever I check out the show. They're not particularly great episodes, and there really isn't anything that special about them. They're just... okay. but I will say they're definitely far from being bad episodes. That's one thing I'll give the show credit for. I really haven't come across that many bad episodes from the show. I mean, I haven't seen some of the more infamous episodes, like the mysterious mare duel and putting your hoof down, but I have seen plenty of reviews of those episodes that I'm just gonna take people's word on it and avoid those altogether. Really, the only episode that I've seen that I would consider bad would have to be... Gosh, this episode's just... No, not yet. One train wreck at a time, Game Master. One train wreck at a time. But your time will come, magical mystery cure. Your time will come. Credit where credit is due, however, when the show does turn out an episode that's good, it's really, really good. Lesson Zero is still probably my favorite episode of the show to this day. That episode is constantly throwing jokes at me throughout the whole thing, and nearly every single one of those jokes got a laugh out of me. Not to mention, seeing Twilight's slow descent into madness was pretty...
Hi, girls! Looks like three good friends who obviously don't need the help of another good friend. This is Smarty Pants. She was mine when I was your age, and now I want to give her to you! I just hope the fact that there are three of you and only one of her doesn't become a problem. I'd hate to cause a rift between such good friends.
Yes, hi, is this the Ponyville Insane Asylum? So I'm not at all saying that I don't get why people love the show so much, because I do. I see all the effort that went into the series, and I do see the appeal behind the show. I totally understand why so many people love the show so much. But for me, personally, I just think the show is too much of a mixed bag for me to consider it a great show. Like I said, the episodes that are good are really, really good. But there's also a ton of merely okay episodes to dig through to even find those episodes. That's why I only find this show to be... okay. Whew. Alright, so now that you know how I feel about the show overall, let's finally get into why we're all here. One of the few things in the series that was so bad that even the bronies hated it. Today, we're gonna see what happens when a big-name company like Hasbro looks at some fan art of the ponies on DeviantArt and says, yeah, we can make a movie out of this. As much as I would prefer to not have to suffer through this film a second time, I've got an audience, please. And besides, the first viewing I had with Delio left such a bad taste in my mouth, I felt like I have to make this review just to put this movie in its place once and for all. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Equestria Girls. So the movie begins, I assume sometime after the season 3 finale. No. Patience. The gang heads over to Canterlot so that Twilight can have her very first princess summit. They arrive at the castle, but it would seem that everyone is tired from their long journey. As they all get ready for bed, Twilight tells Spike the dragon that she's starting to have some doubts about becoming a princess.
Princess Cadence was given the Crystal Empire to rule over. What if now that I'm a princess, Celestia expects me to lead a kingdom of my own? Just because I have this crown and these wings, it doesn't mean I'll be a good leader.
Well, what do you know? Even Twilight realizes how stupid the season 3 finale is. Nope. So everyone tries to go to sleep, but in the middle of the night, we see that a mysterious pony has snuck into the castle to try to steal Twilight's crown. Our heroes catch the thief in the act, though, and they proceed to give chase, which leads them to this magic mirror that the crown has fallen into. Now that the deed is done, the thief goes through the mirror as well to get the crown.
Who is that?
Sunset Shimmer.
Oh hey, thanks Crossfade Effect! So Princess Celestia explains that Sunset Shimmer used to be an old student of hers, but decided to abandon her studies to pursue her own path. The path of the
dark side.
And it would seem like it's up to Twilight to go into the mirror, find Sunset Shimmer, and get her crown back before the portal closes for another 30 moons. However long that is. Luckily for Twilight, she's got her friends by her side to help her out on this quest, and
I'm afraid I can't let you go. Sending all of you could upset the balance of this alternate world.
yeah, that's a lot of pony poo. I'm so sorry, that's actually really disgusting. But seriously, this reason for why none of Twilight's friends can go with her makes 0 sense. I'm assuming she's saying this because she knows that there are other versions of these characters in this new dimension, and having 2 of the same person would cause a rip in the space-time continuum or something. But if that's the case, then just sending Twilight into this new dimension would be a huge risk as well, because it's established later on in the movie that there is a second dimension Twilight in this universe. But, hey, I guess that doesn't really matter anyway, since Spike manages to go into the mirror and go with Twilight into this alternate dimension. Plot holes. Be careful not to fall in them, because it's really difficult to get out. Anyways, they both go inside the mirror and it takes them to a different dimension. And it turns out this new dimension just so happens to be our world.
Oh boy, oh man, isn't that exciting, everyone? Isn't this exactly what you want to see from the My Little Pony movie?
Have all the characters turn into humans and travel to the real world where nothing magical ever happens? Isn't this what you always wanted? I mean, we could have the characters go on a magical journey through mysterious lands, finding mythical creatures and whatnot, but come on, that's just too exciting. Who really wants to see that, right? Let's just take them to the least exciting place that these characters could possibly go to instead. Also, Spike is a dog in this universe for some reason, because I guess dragons are considered dogs in the pony universe. I don't... So after Twilight snaps out of her shock from her transformation, they both decide to storm the castle, which is really just a high school, to look for the crown. However, Twilight quickly starts to realize that her powers don't work in this world, and she also notices that the people here act very differently than the ones in her world. So she decides to study how they act for a bit so she can fit in more.
I've never seen a place that's quite like this. Everything is turned around this crazy world.
Oh, goody. It's a musical. Oh, man, that's so exciting. That means I have to memorize all the songs in this movie now. Oh, that's just, I'm so happy.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying this song is actually not that bad. I mean, the lyrics are a bit too simplistic, but the actual sound of the song does sound pretty good. And it's also really short, it's only about a minute long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. Which I think is perfect for a song like this, since you can really only sing about how weird and different everybody is for so long. Actually, it's kind of funny. She's almost like that new girl in school who just wants to fit in, like in those teen high school movies they would see on, like, Disney Channel or something, but nah, there's no way that's the type of movie that they're going for. Anyways, as Twilight continues to explore the school, she runs into this guy by accident.
You okay?
Well, he added a lot. So Twilight and Spike eventually find Sunset Shimmer, who seems to have cornered a human version of Fluttershy.
You shouldn't pick up things that don't belong to you. You really are pathetic. It's no wonder your best friends are all stray animals.
Don't let yourself be a victim. It's time for you to speak up and stop bullying today. But seriously, that's pretty much all Sunset Shimmer is. She's literally just the snobby school bully character who always gets her way because, like, she's totes popular, or whatever. You know, they could potentially make this character a pretty decent villain. I mean, the idea of one of Princess Celestia's old students coming back for revenge or something like that does sound like an interesting idea for a My Little Pony villain. I doubt they would have made her incredibly complex or anything, but I imagine they could have made that type of villain at least a little bit interesting. They've had interesting villains on the show before. I know they could pull it off if they tried, but nope. School bully. That's what we're going with. We put all of our characters in a high school environment, so that automatically means we gotta follow all the generic high school movie tropes to a T. Whatever. Twilight stands up to Sunset Shimmer to try to get her to ease off of Fluttershy. She doesn't really seem to notice Twilight right away, though, and brushes her off as just another school student. She heads off, then Twilight asks Fluttershy if she's seen the crown anywhere, and it turns out she has. She apparently came across it while trying to hand out some flyers outside to various students.
Canterlot's animal shelter needs more volunteers.
Oh, come on, dude. You didn't even try. Yes, I know she's shy, that's her thing, but you couldn't at least try to maybe walk up to someone and ask them about the animal shelter? Because something tells me these students aren't ignoring your flyers because they don't care about them. It's probably because they can't hear you advertising your little cause, because you're way over there. I'm just saying, that's probably not the best strategy to use for something like this. Yes, hi there. I was wondering if you'd be interested in participating in the Save the Cats Foundation. It's this great little cause to help get poor stray kittens someplace to call home, you know? And the more people we have helping us out here, the better. You know, we gotta do whatever we can to help those poor cats. So, what do you say? Will you support the cause?
What?
So Fluttershy apparently gave the crown to Principal Celestia. Yes, apparently principals are considered royalty in Equestria. So Twilight goes to speak with her to try to convince her to give back the crown.
Were you interested in running for Princess of the Fall Formal this year? It's Canterlot High's Big Fall Dance.
Oh my gosh, you've gotta be kidding. There's a school competition in this movie.
They're really doing this, aren't they? They really are going for a generic, cliched teen high school movie, aren't they? It sure looks that way. They've hit all the bullet points so far. New kid comes to school, tries to fit in, has an encounter with the bully, then has to enter a popularity contest and try to beat that bully in said contest. Why? Why do this in a My Little Pony movie? You have a universe filled with these awesome magical creatures, and yet you choose to do nothing with them?
You know what? That's it. They want to make a high school movie? Fine. Might as well see if they do at least something interesting with the concept, right? Which is why for this review, I've prepared the cliche checklist. It's a list of all the high school movie cliches that this movie could possibly do. And we're gonna go through each and every single one of them as we go on. Every time the movie does a cliche, I'm gonna check it off the list. And, while I'm at it, since this movie already did 3 of the cliches so far...
So Twilight decides to run for Princess of the Fall Formal and decides to talk to Fluttershy to see if she's able to help. But it would seem like she's not too thrilled with the idea.
You'd have to convince everyone here to vote for you instead of her. The athletes, the fashionistas...
Oh, good. We're doing this now, are we? No, really, it's fine. We might as well go through these as quickly as possible, right? You're a movie about magical talking ponies. Do something with it!
Well, they do kinda start to do something with it after Twilight meets up with Human Universe Pinkie Pie and Human Universe Applejack, as they're the ones in charge of organizing the whole event. After Twilight signs up for the competition, Sunset Shimmer shows up to do generic stuck-up bully things by complaining about every little thing.
I hate apple cider. The balloons aren't right. This event is supposed to be about me.
How about you go back to the Disney Channel sitcom where you belong, you worthless little... Once she finishes her little temper tantrum, Sunset finally comes to the realization that the new kid she ran to earlier was Twilight Sparkle the entire time. So they meet up in a dark corner of the school where Sunset briefly explains that she knows something about the crown that Twilight doesn't, foreshadowing that there might be more to this competition than meets the eye. It's actually not a bad scene. I mean, Sunset still acts like a generic stuck-up bully through most of it, but it is one of the few scenes in the movie where she tries to act at least a little bit threatening. Anyways, Twilight decides to do a little bit of research about this universe so that she'll have a better chance of winning the competition. However, it would seem that Sunset Shimmer's sidekicks are secretly recording videos of her messing up modern technology, and she uses this footage to create a video in order to turn the whole school against her. She meets up with Human Dimension Rarity and the others who tell Twilight about the video, and they offer to help make things right. Well, sort of. They individually offer to help, because all of Twilight's friends in the Pony Dimension are actually not friends in the Human Dimension. Yeah, they all do that thing where each of the characters have something bad to say about the other, like, "Hey Twilight, I'd help you out, but FYI, don't trust Pinkie Pie. She promised she'd make me a chocolate cake, but Don't go anywhere near that Applejack fellow. She came in and tore up all of my designer dresses.
Come on, Rarity, that's nothing compared to what Rainbow Dash did.
Oh boy, here we go.
Don't act like it's not a big deal. You know exactly what you did.
Oh, what? I was just supposed to know that radioactive fluids aren't good for your skin?
Yes! Why would you think otherwise?
You're overreacting. It wasn't that bad.
Look at us, Rainbow Dash. You literally turned my skin pink. Pink! You turned the vice principal purple, and you made Rarity look like a pasty freak.
Excuse me?
You turned the whole school into the entire Castrum Dog. Nobody wants to be the Castrum Dog, Rainbow Dash. Nobody wants to...
Sorry. Kinda got carried away there. Where was I? Oh, yeah, that's right. This nonsense.
You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and count this as a cliche. I mean, I know we kinda need something like this to create drama in the movie and things like that, but honestly, it doesn't last very long. Like, seriously, this plot point gets resolved in literally the very next scene.
During the argument, all of the characters eventually find out that Sunset Shimmer has been sending everyone fake text messages and posing as different people in order to turn everyone against each other. This gets everyone to realize the error of their ways, and they all apologize and become friends again, including Human Dimension Rainbow Dash, where Icarus asks to help Twilight in her quest to win Princess of the Fall Formal. She says she'll help Twilight if she can beat her in a game of soccer. She agrees to the challenge, fails to win the game, then Rainbow Dash says she'll help anyway. What was even the point of that? So the gang goes to the coffee shop to try to come up with a plan to beat Sunset Shimmer.
Whoa, we've got to stop bumping into each other like this.
Oh, I know, right? This seems to happen to you two all the time. You know, like the one other time this happened.
You know me. Always trying to make a big splash around here. Cause my drink kinda splashed on the ground.
Alright, Twilight, you're overselling it, girl. Just...
You're already trying to get a crown. Who knows what Sunset Shimmer would do if you ended up getting her ex-boyfriend, too.
Ex-boyfriend? Flash said she broke up.
So after Twilight and generic McLove interest finish their two-sentence conversation, she joins back up with the group and they try to work out a plan to get the school on Twilight's side again. So what brilliant idea do they have in mind to resolve this conflict? Why? A song, of course!
Oh boy, another mediocre musical number for me to blankly stare at the screen at for about a minute. Can't wait.
Hey, everybody, we've got something to say. We may seem as different as the night is from day, but you look a little deeper, and you will see that I'm just like you, and you're just like me, yeah. Hey, everybody, we're here to shout that the magic of friendship is...
What's happening? All the foot stomping and the eye-fiving, the tail-fiving and the motivational message. Why is Fluttershy winking at me? Ugh. Oh, gosh. Okay. I'll admit it. This song is kind of awesome.
Yeah, I actually found this song to be pretty good. Who knew I would actually have something positive to say about this movie, right? First off, it explains a pretty good moral to kids about being yourself and working together and all of that good stuff. That's always a plus. Teaching lessons about friendship is sort of the show's thing, so the fact that they were able to fit that in there without it feeling forced is pretty nice to see. Second, it's actually pretty catchy. The music sounds good, the lyrics are actually written pretty well. It's just an all-around pretty good song, and it's definitely the best song in the movie. Also, I can see! So everyone digs the song, and it would seem that the people are on Twilight's side again. This, of course, displeases Sunset Shimmer, so she hatches a plan to try to get Twilight banned from the competition. She destroys all the decorations for the fall formal, causing the school to have to cancel the event. And of course, she blames Twilight for it, and hands Vice Principal Luna fraudulent evidence proving so. Twilight seems like she's in some serious trouble now, and it would seem like there's no getting out of this
Vice
one.
Principal Luna, I found these in a trash can in the library. Someone obviously combined these photos to make it look like Twilight was the one who trashed the gym.
You may, of course, continue your bid to be crowned the princess of the fall formal.
No. You know what? No. I'll tell you what the point of that was. The only reason why that scene was in this movie was so they could give this guy a purpose. Yeah, you've seen this guy a few times throughout this review. There's a reason why I've been avoiding talking about him up until now, and that's because outside of this one scene, he does literally nothing in this movie. And I can already hear you guys being like, oh, you're probably just exaggerating, you're just saying that 'cause he doesn't do that much, and no. I mean, he literally does absolutely nothing in this movie. Not a single thing. He doesn't advance the story, he doesn't say any jokes, heck, he barely even interacts with the other characters. In fact, Twilight is pretty much the only character in this movie he ever really talks to. He's supposed to be Twilight's love interest in this movie, but he even fails at doing that. Remember that coffee shop scene from earlier? Yeah, that's the only conversation they've had in this entire movie. One conversation, and Twilight instantly decides she likes the guy now, because that's how it works. If I sound annoyed to you guys as I'm describing this, it's because I am. This character's horrible. He is by far one of the worst things about this movie. And, look, I'm not against the idea of giving Twilight a love interest, alright? If that's what the writers want to do, by all means go for it. But, if you are going to include romance in your movie, at least know how to write it well first. Which these guys obviously don't. They don't show any sort of connection between these two characters for the whole movie. All this guy has done up until this point is, he bumps into Twilight, says sorry, and then leaves. That's it. I mean, say what you want about some of the Disney films where they also make the main character and the love interest fall for each other super quickly, but at least in those movies they actually try to develop a relationship between the two characters. They talk to each other, learn details about each other, develop a friendship that eventually grows into something much bigger. It may not be super realistic, sure, but they still try to make the relationship between the two characters at least somewhat believable. I don't believe for a single second that these two characters actually like each other. Every time this character, this thing, this ink blot on the script that the writers forgot to clean off when they were going through rewrites, every time he comes on screen, I get annoyed. I get annoyed and I get frustrated, because all this character does is bring the film to a complete halt just so Twilight can make goo-goo eyes at him for a few seconds before she has to go to the next plot point. That's it. That's all he is. That's why I hate this character so much, because he's not really a character. He's not someone that the writers spent hours upon hours coming up with personality traits for. He's not a character with motivations and feelings and interesting quirks. He's literally just eye candy for Twilight to gush over for about 10 to 15 seconds per scene. So after Hunksalot clears Twilight's name, she realizes that she doesn't have much time left to get the crown back before the portal back to Ponyville closes up. Since time doesn't seem to be on her side, Spike suggests that it might be time to tell the humanoid versions of her friends the truth about who and what she really is.
You see, you're from an alternate world and you're a pony princess there, and the crown actually has a magical element embedded in it that helps power up other magical elements, and without it, they don't work anymore, and you need them to help protect your magical world. And if you don't get the crown tonight, you'll be stuck in this world, and you won't be able to get back for like a really, really long time.
It's quite interesting that you were able to predict all that. Would you mind if my friend here ran a few tests? So, everyone takes the whole Twilight being a pony princess thing pretty well. Yeah, I mean, if someone were to tell me that they were a princess from another dimension, I probably wouldn't question it either. But to be fair, our heroes really don't have much time for questions, as they need to fix up the decorations to get the fall formal back on track. Which they do in a montage sequence where our next musical number plays, which... yeah, it's alright.
Fix it up, yeah, it's alright. We'll get it ready by tonight.
It's a pretty laid-back kind of song with a pretty nice sound to it. I kinda like it, but it's nothing I would willingly go back and listen to again. Anyway, they fix everything up, and it would seem like the fall formal is back on.
But things don't seem to be quite over yet, as Sunset Shimmer appears to have one more sinister plan up her sleeve. With the event only being a few hours away, everyone starts to get ready, and yet, another musical number! I'd just like to point out, they just sang a song about working together and all that rainbow sunshine goodness, and then literally 1 minute after that song ends, I'm not joking, I timed it, 1 minute after that song ends, they go into another musical number. Which is great for me, because you know how much I love the soundtrack in this movie. Honestly though, I don't really have anything to say about the song. It's just another okay song in my opinion. But hey, on the bright side, this thing does give me another opportunity to check off another cliche. Whew, thank goodness. For a second I thought they were going to start doing something original there. Actually, it looks like we're going to be getting a 2-for-1 deal here because, surprise, surprise, Twilight wins the fall formal. Oh man, this is so unexpected. I never thought. I didn't think I'd get to where I am today. I'd like to thank the Academy for supporting me through this incredible journey. I'm trying so hard not to cry right now. This is so amazing. When am I getting paid? Trouble arises, however, when Sunset Shimmer's henchmen kidnap Spike. The gang chases them down until they...
That's close enough.
Is she gonna try to kill them?
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it. I'm not a monster, Twilight.
Well, you could have been at least an interesting villain if you did. Chill.
So Sunset threatens to destroy the mirror unless Twilight gives her the crown, even though the mirror is currently a portal, so wouldn't the hammer just go right through the mirror? I mean, portals really aren't solid objects, although I guess she could technically destroy the framing around the portal, but even then I'm not exactly sure if that would actually... Twilight, of course, refuses to give Sunset Shimmer the crown regardless, so she decides to take the next logical step. She straight up tackles the chick. So the gang fights over the crown for a little bit, but eventually it does wind up getting to Sunset Shimmer's hands, who proceeds to put on the crown and... Well then, so much for the whole not being a monster speech, eh, Sunset?
I'm not a monster, Twilight.
So she explains that she was bluffing earlier when she said she was going to destroy the portal, what a shock, and says that she's going to use the crown's power to take over the land back in the pony dimension. So she uses her magic to mind control the students and tries to get the rest of the gang out of the way by using... Oh my gosh. Is she actually gonna fight them?
What?
The magic contained in my element was able to unite with those that helped create it.
Well, that's kind of a cheap way of letting the good guys win, but regardless, we're finally gonna see some action! Yes, they start getting pony features on their bodies, which is kind of weird, but we're still gonna see some action! Yes! This is gonna be so awesome! Twilight, do the magic beam, Twilight. Shoot a magic beam at her. Shoot a magic... Wait, what's this?
What is happening?
That's it. That's seriously the entire final battle. All of this waiting for something interesting to happen. We finally get some actual magic in this movie. And all we get is... You know what? Guys, this has been the best 6 years of my entire life. But, you know, we've all got to move on at some point, you know? So, I just want to thank all of you guys for sticking with me for all these years. And, yeah, this is it. Goodbye. Okay, I'll finish.
So the day is saved. Sunset Shimmer is defeated, everyone returns back to their normal selves, and Twilight is free to return back to her own dimension. But they still need to give Sunset her proper punishment, of course, so...
I'm sorry. I don't know the first thing about friendship.
Oh, shut up. Don't even try to pull that whole, oh, I'm evil because I don't have any friends junk. I hate it when movies and shows do that. Oh, I know I tried to kill all of you guys, but if you promise to be my friends, I promise I won't do it again. Like, give me a break. Whatever. We're almost at the end here, so let's just wrap this up. Twilight and the others accept Sunset Shimmer's apology for almost killing them earlier. For some reason. Twilight decides to have one last dance with slick hair and McDreamy eyes before she has to go back. We see that Twilight's friends in the pony dimension have apparently just been sitting outside the mirror this whole time waiting for her to come back, because they apparently have nothing better to do with their lives, I guess. Everyone welcomes Twilight back, Pinkie Pie wraps things up by being Pinkie Pie, and that's the movie. My gosh. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They could have easily made a movie that just took place in the pony dimension. You could have had it to where all the main characters could go on some grand journey through different lands, meeting new characters, new friends, all these cool things. Kind of like what they did with season 5 of the show, where they had like this map that they used to find people who were having trouble with friendship, I think. I'm not really sure. I kind of stopped keeping track of the series when season 5 came around, but still, they could have based an entire movie just around that. It would have been interesting. But instead, we get a super generic, by-the-numbers high school movie. And it wouldn't be so bad if they maybe did something interesting with the concept. Except they don't. You've seen my checklist throughout this whole review. They literally do pretty much every single cliche you can think of for this type of movie. And they don't do anything new or interesting with them. They're just doing the cliches just for the sake of doing them. Really, the only time they start to do something a little bit interesting with the concept is at the very end of the movie. And even then, it doesn't last for very long and ends in a really anti-climactic way. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like this was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because it's not. The movie does have its moments, like that one song I brought up earlier was pretty good, and there were also a few jokes in this movie that I thought were kind of funny. But it's not enough to save this movie, because I've seen this kind of movie be done in the exact same way a million times before. There is literally nothing else you can do with this concept. So it seriously baffles me that they would go with this type of movie for the Friendship is Magic series. A generic, predictable, cliched high school movie that literally nobody asked to see. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comments below. And besides, a large majority of the fan base didn't really seem to like this movie either, so thankfully we're not going to see Hasbro try something like this again anytime soon. Right?